I'm just loving the new base. It's only temporary. We just have to wait here until we can get into a new up-to-date base. We can't go back to our old one. The damage Zeron caused it has rendered it completely unusable. That wasn't Zeron, that was Zaries. They're two different people. Right. I suppose it probably wasn't Zeron's fault. I doubt he had any control over his actions while he was in that form. You know, you have been taking this surprisingly well. Well, I'll admit I found the whole mystically powered demon thing a bit difficult to swallow. But aside from that, I found the story pretty believable. Huh? What's that supposed to mean? Calm down. No. You have a right to know. And no one else but me is ever going to tell you this, so just listen. There's a lot you don't know about Zeron Necros. What's that supposed to mean? You know Zeron is the youngest person to ever graduate from the D.R.A.G.A Academy, right? Well, yeah, everyone knows that. He was only 12 years old when he entered the D.R.A.G.A Academy. D.R.A.G.A Agent Basic Training is a 6-month crash course in combat skills, battle strategy, and logistics. Zeron passed it in just 2.5 months. Everyone knows that, yes. But here's what most people don't know. It took him over 3 years to graduate from advanced training. 3 years? But advanced training is just a whole bunch of assessments and tests. They just use that to evaluate your skills and before they put you out in the field, just to tell if you're fit for duty. Yes, that's exactly the problem. Zeron failed almost every single psychological examination ever given to him. He was just barely allowed to graduate and enter active duty. And that was only after Arado managed to convince the D.R.A.G.A Agent Board of Directors that if they didn't allow Zeron onto their side, he would become their worst enemy. My god. But why? What's wrong with him? When he was only 10 years old, Zeron was the only survivor of what was believed to have been a terrorist attack on his hometown. His mother and little brother were killed in front of him and he was left badly scarred. The incident left him with a host of mental disorders, including multiple personality disorder and acute violent outburst disorder. He claims to have no recollection of the incident, but from what you've told me, I think he may be lying. I found some copies of the official report of the attack. Though the buildings were destroyed, there wasn't a single mark on any of the bodies, except for Zeron. And now, it turns out that Zeron has a violent, mystically powered alternate personality. At this point, I'm willing to consider the possibility that some sort of mystic entity was responsible for the death of Zeron's family. Well, if that's true, then there's a possibility he got his powers from the same thing that destroyed his entire town. That's quite likely true, but at this point I think it's much more important to focus on getting Zaries back from the Children of Doom. As much as it disturbs me that he even exists, I'd rather have him on our side than in the hands of our enemies. Heh, yeah, same here. I think it would be a good idea if we considered...
Azario. It's time. I just have one question, Zeron. Why didn't you tell us?
I was afraid. After what had happened to my home, my family, me, I was terrified of losing everything that you had fought so hard to give me. Being a D.R.A.G.A agent, one of the good guys. After what happened, it was all I had left. Except for him, Zaries, a living reminder of the evil that destroyed my life. For the past 10 years, there's been a fragment of pure evil living inside me, and I was terrified that if you found out he existed, I'd lose the only life I had left. And now you know. And now I've lost everything again. You know, Zeron, I checked and it turns out that quote-unquote being possessed by a demon does not render you unfit for duty. I can only imagine how hard it was for you to tell us this, Zeron. But just know this. We trust you, and you should do the same. You got friends here, dude. Whether or not you're possessed by evil, we're here to help. And speaking of which, I feel kind of bad for asking this, but do you think it would be possible for you to be able to control Zaries? Because right now, the Zenthronians and the Children of Doom have him in their grasp. If they can find a way to control him, well, we've all seen what he's capable of. No one would be able to stop him, not even us. And on top of that, we have no idea where he is. I only just realized this, but it turns out I have a mental connection with Zaries and I can sense his surroundings. What? Wow, that is incredibly convenient. Give me a second, let me try and concentrate. It's a wide open space, lots of guards. There's wood all over the place. Wait a minute. Wasn't there an abandoned lumber yard not too far from here? Yes, there is. But that's gonna be a problem. A place like that is gonna be wide open with very little cover. Getting a team in and out of there unseen will be almost impossible. Well then, a single person might be able to get in and out of there without being seen. But if they are spotted, then they'll have to face every single one of the guards there without any backup. Any single D.R.A.G.A agent is probably worth about 6 Children of Doom thugs. But they've got some highly skilled killers of their own. And we've got to take into account the Zenthronians will probably be helping them. And the Zenthronians we have seen working with the Children of Doom not only seem to have special forces training, but they have access to some of the most advanced military equipment in the world. So we can't get a team in and out of there unseen, and it's way too risky to send in a single person. So what do we do about that?
Hey, I have an idea. Why don't we attack them head on? If you think about it, it's probably the last thing they'll be expecting.
You're suggesting we go up to our most dangerous enemies and knock on their front door?
No, I'm saying we should go up to our most dangerous enemies and blow their door clean off.
Okay, now I'm listening.
What I could do is sneak in, plant a whole bunch of explosives, and then set them off right before you attack. That way, if they're not already dead, they'll at least be easier to make dead.
I think I like this girl. And where do you plan to get that many explosives?
From my bomb collection?
What?
Well, I like explosives. What's wrong with that?
I'll tell you what's wrong with that. Absolutely nothing.
Aw, thanks.
Great. And I say, at the risk of sounding cheesy, let's go blow these idiots up.